So let's just say I want to group footage that is just Tate related. I can essentially drag these wherever I want and group them together. Let's just say that's all Tate style footage, and then different footage that is not necessarily related to Tate. So we've got Mike Tyson, the 300 movie. There's a clip here from Creed, which I can put up there. You get the idea, right? It's not necessarily what I do. I prefer to have things in the icon view generally, so I can convert each video and just scrub through and see what each video looks like. Or it's not uncommon that in my workspaces, if I'm using all panels and the project is starting to get bigger, I will just list all my items. And it's worth noting that once you go into a particular bin, you can go back to viewing all your bins by hitting the return button up here on the left of the project panel. And there we go, we're back into our view of all the bins. It's good to stay organized because on much larger projects you will be dealing with multiple files, and sometimes you can get lost in the chaos of your project panel. With that being said, I believe we have some familiarization now with the user interface of our editing software. We understand different panels, we understand how we can change the orientation of things, and we also understand that organization is key when first starting a project. Let's now move over into the more interesting stuff and start creating our first sequence. So going forward, I'll be recording everything using OBS. Previously, I was using QuickTime. Anyone who is familiar with Mac and OBS know that it's a nightmare to set up. I finally got it up and running. Let's hop back into our CCTRW Tate ad. I want to bring your focus to this panel next to the timeline or sequences. In my opinion, these are the main tools you'll be using to chop up your content creation. And at this level of learning, I only want to go over 4 of the tools. The first being the selection tool, which has the keyboard shortcut V. This is your general interface tool, and you'd use this commonly to move your clips back and forth. So let's just go ahead and pick the very first clip that we've used. I'm not going to go into repositioning this clip just yet. That's something we'll talk in a later video. But the selection tool will allow you to move your video from left to right, up and down different tracks. This video itself doesn't have any audio attached to it. But what you'll find is with the selection tool, if you hover at the start of the clip, you'll see your icon change, and what you can do is drag this to make a cut on your actual video. What you can actually see over in the program monitor is where your cut will actually be made. So here we can see at 1:05 approximately, and if I let go, you can see now everything that we've scrubbed through has been deleted. If I go to this clip at the start of the clip,
all right.
audio and video transitions. This can sometimes make or break your edits. And the reason why I say that is because in my journey of content creation, I've seen so
Here we go. This is the part where I needed to do. So 3, 2, 1, go.
Although the core lessons in CC are taught in Adobe, I
Go back.
are taught in Adobe. I will explore all the other relevant editing softwares, for example CapCut. The following lessons in this entire module will be around CapCut, and by the end of them you will have proficiency in CapCut. Before we do get started, I want to mention a simple note and end the debate about which particular software is better. All editing software have their unique capabilities, but on the surface saved automatically, and you'll be able to toggle through different projects by clicking this grid icon over here, and you can change from viewing them in a grid structure or a list structure. If CapCut is going to be your main editing software, then you might have multiple projects. Therefore, a quick way to find them within the welcome screen is to hit the search button, and you can go ahead and type your project name. If you counter any problems with CapCut, the best way to reach out to the support team is to hit this
Good. Good, good.
using CapCut. Next to the speech bubble, we have the settings. If I go ahead and click this, click on settings, you'll have 4 options: project, edit, performance, and language. So within the project area, you can designate your save to. You also have your cache management here, which I have selected as don't delete, and you can come back to this settings area and delete them manually. If you don't understand what I mean by cache, don't worry about it. We won't get into that just yet. I'll explain this further down the line. Then you also have your edit, which you can change the Okay, let's start diving into the adjustment panel. And what I'd like to do with you is look at keyframe animations. Now, over in the adjustment panel, when you have a particular clip clicked on your timeline, you're able to see a variety of different tools that we'll be discussing throughout these lessons. For this lesson, let's look at position and size. You have your scale, your position, rotation, and towards the right of these, you have a clickable diamond, which is a keyframe. If I scrub my playhead towards a particular part that I'd like to zoom in, let's take the point of Tate kicking the bag. I can go ahead and hit a keyframe on the scale position, maybe move 1 or 2 clicks down, 1, 2, and I'll adjust the scale slightly in, and then I could move 1, 2 clicks further out and reposition the scale back to 316, I believe it was, and I should get this little bump effect. So scale in and scale out, and I'm going to apply this across each point that Tate hits the bag. I think this hook here could do with a zoom in and zoom out. So again, I'm going to hit my keyframe at 316, move down 2 positions, go ahead and increase the zoom, again move 2 positions down, and I'll decrease the zoom back to its original position, which was 316. So once again, we have the zoom effect. Let's get it on this hook here as well. Zoom in, 1, 2, zoom back out, and if I play this clip now, we should be able to see a quick zoom in and zoom out when Tate hits the bag.
You work on your fitness, your fighting.
It's a very subtle effect. I tend to use it quite a lot when there's anything to do with hitting, and I suppose you could DALL-E 2 Mastery. I know a lot of you are super excited and have been waiting for this course to be released. I'm just as excited, so let's get straight into it. What I want to do in this lesson is I want to give an introduction to DALL-E 2, and we're going to briefly explore what DALL-E's capabilities are and give you an understanding behind the team's ethos to this new Pro plan. That way I can show you all the benefits that Midjourney has to offer. Alright, let's get started. So what you currently can see on the screen is the homepage of www.midjourney.com. And if you're coming here from watching the previous DALL-E 2 lessons, then you'll be able to understand that Midjourney also works in a similar way, which is prompt engineering. Or a simpler way of understanding this is text to image AI. Now, when you come over to Midjourney's home screen, they don't necessarily do a great job of explaining what Midjourney is. You're greeted by this kind of X jittery display. So what I'm going to do to try and explain things is go over to the showcase, which is down here on the left hand side of the screen. So in the context of AI art or this module or these lessons, it's all about the process of entering text and generating images as a result. Let's pick an image to try and understand what I mean by text to image generation. So in the case of this Darth Vader image here, the